All right. We are back. We just got the finger guns from our wonderful, wonderful
it's sort
producer.
of, it's sort of like the lead jammer finger of power.
It is.
But it's you're on
the
camera.
semaphore fingers of you must go now. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Rippy Longstocking.
I'm Loose Change.
And we're here on the second day of the championships of the Men's Roller Derby Association 2019. We are at the Foothills Fieldhouse in Lakeland, Colorado. Lakewood. Did I say Lakeland?
I don't know. Let's go with it.
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
We're in Colorado, friends, and you're not.
Just a little coffee. Okay, so we're going to start this wonderful game between Denver Ground Control and the Kamiquadz. I'm going to start by reading the roster for Derby Club La Cré Lot Montpellier. I've been practicing. Not going to say it's great, but I've been practicing.
FYI to all of those, we apologize for our horrible butchering of the names.
But I'm giving it a really good shot, is what I'm telling you. I'm trying hard. Okay, so at 01 is Hoku no Kim. 087 is Sengla Aku. 1234, Bad Periods. 13, Big Daddy. 1664, Green Bergen. 3, Charan. 4, Popol. 42, Dalle Camus. 5452, Manic Tattoo. 6, Oliver Fist. 77, Buck Le Baston. And 91, Helicopter. Coached today by Mandy Bulls.
Well, I mean, the Kamiquadz need someone to play against, so why not their hometown hosts of the Denver Ground Control? So they're skating in blue. Real quick, we've got number 11, Cruz, 13, Spicy, 18 is Ferguson, 1984 is Williams, 207, Judgment Day, 257, Schneider, number 4, name used with permission, Baby Stelly, 40 is Broderick, 43 is I have Chris with a K, but that's something different. 45, Panty-Depressant. 72, Stelly. 77, Cotton. 8 is Hunter. 89 is Rivera. 98 is Sparrow, and they are coached by Disco Akers and Rachel Lackman.
Okay, Denver Ground Control, of course, in the dark blue jerseys. Kamiquadz in the bright red. Sparrow is wearing the star for Denver, and Buck Le Baston is wearing the star for the Kamiquadz. Baston is out as lead jammer.
But first penalty does go to the Kamiquadz. That is number 3, Charan, in the penalty box.
Baston is out for a 4-point pass. Sparrow still looking to get past that defensive wall.
Sparrow with the star in hand. It looked like there was the potential for a star pass, but he still has it. Meanwhile, 4 more points up there for Buck Le Baston. So that is 8 points in total.
And again through the pack. Really, Baston really is finding a way to just shoulder through. There is no opening, but shouldering an opening. Getting through the center of the pack twice in a row there.
I mean, if you don't see an opening, you're going to make one.
He's very good at making them.
Nice pop to the outside there. I believe that was the assist by Broderick.
Yes, Broderick. So the star was passed at the very end there from Sparrow. So I think is that Judgment Day? Yes, Judgment Day. Right at the very end there. But Denver unable to put any points on the board. So a slow start for Denver, but we saw this yesterday. Denver with a little bit of a slow start, but able to really come back and put some points on the board. 16-point jam.
You know, so, I mean, when we're looking at the rankings, Kamiquadz are ranked 10th, Denver's 9th.
So Popol is wearing the star for the Kamiquadz. That is Ferguson with the star for Denver. It looks like Popol was trying to run a little interference there for Ferguson. Off a little fist pump there, yes.
Popol was very excited about being awarded lead jammer.
Ferguson still getting locked in the back. That looks like that Big Daddy. Will pull out for 4 points. And now the star has been passed. That is to Schneider on Denver.
So we have just a round robin of skaters from both teams entering and exiting from that penalty box. So right now we've got one standing for Denver. That is Rivera. And number 13 in there, Big Daddy for the Kamiquadz. On the line, we've got number 72, Stelly, and in blue, going up against number 1, 2, 3, 4, Bad Periods for the Kamiquadz in red. Pack right at a standstill before that pivot line. So, as things kind of come to start to move a little bit, slow back down a little bit more, Stelly re-entering the back pack from the back. Excuse me, try saying that a few times fast. Both jammers still stuck and trying, but of course, as I say it, as per the announcer's curse, Stelly does break free.
You used it for good. We appreciate that.
I try.
Ooh. So yeah, first lead for Denver, and able to put 4 points on the board. So good news for them.
Yeah, indeed. Denver, so, we're 3 jams in. Kamiquadz sitting at 22 to Denver's 4. So definitely Denver kind of taken a minute to see what needs to happen.
Sure. The game we saw last night. Denver likes to survey the arena, survey the area, survey the track, and decide how to adjust. And that is Broderick picking up a penalty. We'll head to the box. Now, that is, so, again, on your scoreboard, you'll see go lightly. On our rosters, we actually have that as Penny DePresent listed that way, wearing the star for Denver. So that's what we're going to call that skater, because that's what we have on our roster. Baston is the one wearing the star for the Kamiquadz. Spinning around the outside of the pack, does pick up 4.
So, Buckle Baston in a power jam right now as 3 skaters, including the jammer for Denver, are hanging out in that box.
Nice little run out there by Schneider. Pushes Baston right out the side of turn number 4. Penny DePresent now out of the penalty box, engaging with that pack. Getting a little help there with baby Stelly to get those blockers off. It does make it through the pack. Additional 4 points on the board for Baston. Everybody exiting the penalty box. And Penny DePresent on the inside lane picks up 4. Baston tries to make a leap on the inside. Gets a little bump out there by, I think that was Schneider.
Yeah, so nice little hit there by Schneider. Also, with a great assist to make way for Penny DePresent on that inside line to pick up 4 for Denver on that scoring pass.
Just want to give a shout out to Schneider. Schneider will take the star many times. See him out there playing pivot right now, but also a really great awareness on the track as a blocker as well. So really want to give a shout out to our blockers. You can use the hashtag MRDA champs for our Twitter fans, and we will try to give you a shout out. We love to hear from our fans. If you are watching Derby today and you want to show us photos of you and your nice hot cup of coffee, your pets.
How many more cups of coffee do I need to get into your body before you're...
a lot of them.
Okay.
A lot.
If you're listening to this and you're in the Denver area...
if you're drinking coffee out there.
And you want to be Rippy Longstocking's best friend. You can bring her coffee. Just saying.
You will, in fact, be my bestest friend.
You may or may not be kidnapped and forced to go home with her and just be made into her coffee slave, but
really, could you ask for a better life? I don't know.
Do you get paid benefits for your coffee slave position? Because if you do, then we might maybe need to talk. Maybe I'm willing to make a move to the Carolinas.
Oh.
All right, so that was a team timeout requested by Denver. 2 Kamiquadz skaters in the penalty box. Broderick in the penalty box for Denver. And away we go. Stelly out there and Pool, both wearing the stars for their respective teams. Pool on the outside, Stelly on the inside. Helicopter giving Stelly the business.
And the drawback. Pool is out as lead jammer for the Kamiquadz. And Stelly making a run up the outside. Completely missed by Manic Tattoo. It looked like Manic Tattoo was going for the big swing. But Stelly's just very fast.
Manic Tattoo was like, I'm going to get you. And then Stelly was just like,
and
nope.
Try, because I am super fast.
For those of you out there in the live streaming world, I'm sure you've heard us say it before, but Strong Athletic is a Derby-owned and run business. Started by Smarty Pants in 2014 as a way to amplify the voices of skaters in roller derby.
And that is Sparrow taking on Bad Periods off the jammer line. Sparrow makes a dash up the inside lane, picks up lead jammer for Denver. And it is a power jam as we will see Bad Periods head to the penalty box. Sitting alongside Rivera.
Sparrow getting the message from his bench and does the twirly. Means I'm going to keep going.
Another blocker to the penalty box from the Kamiquadz. That looks like Delecanus. I think that is the number I'm seeing.
Yep.
42.
42.
Good number.
42 in red.
Yes. Yeah. 42 is a good number, so it appears a lot.
The way that it's spelled, it's like, I'm just going to nerd out about this name for a hot second
You can nerd out right beside me.
Number 42A, obviously, what is the answer to the big question in the world? 42.
The universe.
The universe.
No, just the world.
The
whole universe.
I'm sorry. Thank you. It's early, okay? How much sleep did I realistically get last night, Rippy? But then the very beginning of Dalek Moose's name looks like Dalek.
Yes.
And that just makes my Doctor Who heart happy.
Yes, indeed. So Ferguson is trying to run a little interference there on Baston, and is held on to her for a while there, but Baston was able to sneak around. Now is engaging with the Denver defense at the front. Ferguson, it looks like Kamiquadz are trying to push Ferguson out, but Ferguson has a lot of balance and can be pushed in different directions and hang on.
Okay, you want to talk about timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly Ferguson? I have said it once, and I will say it again until the day that I die. The laws of physics and gravity do not apply to Ferguson.
Absolutely. So we do have that star pass to Sharon. I think I got my vowels incorrect. I apologize. I'm working and trying, and I apologize for any mistakes, but I'm giving it a shot.
You know, we're doing the best that we can. I do sort of regret not taking French classes in high school. I did some Spanish and some sign language.
I did Spanish and Italian, so
we're literally of no use.
We're not used to French speakers.
Stelly out there with the star. Pool with the star. Stelly does barrel through that pack, picks up lead.
So we've got some whistles blown. It looks like, there we go. Okay, I didn't see any bodies head into the penalty box, but there we go. Baby
Stelly's heading to that penalty box.
Penalty box is
fairly busy.
It's a busy place.
You know,
out of the pack. Pool.
As the pack sort of rolls to a pause moment over here on turn 4 in front of us. Stelly goes to the outside, jukes to that inside. Nice little hop, but hit to the inside there and calls it off. Does pick up 3 additional points, it looks like. Pool has his little number 1 up. I got a point. So let's see. Oh,
and there was some discussion between the jam refs, and they say 0. The hips did not pass the hips of the blockers, or the opposing players.
As Shakira says, these hips don't lie.
They do not.
Panty-depressant with the star, and that is bad periods for the Kamiquadz.
So as we said, Denver taking a moment to survey the track and see what they need to do to take on the Kamiquadz, and they have kept the Kamiquadz scoreless for 3 jams.
Oh.
You see Panty-depressant now picking up lead for Denver once again.
You know, you've got bad periods not too far behind Panty-depressant, but Panty-depressant calling it off, picking up 2 points for Denver, but holding big bad periods scoreless.
So that's 4.
Yeah.
4 in a row that they've kept them scoreless.
So little by little, Denver at 44, Kamiquadz at 36, as we roll down to that 17-minute mark.
The Kamiquadz came out and did that smooth, like multi-scoring pass, rather. Several jams in a row. But Denver has shown how they adapt.
Yes.
And Stelly.
Okay, a little bit of a foot race there.
And so
I'm not seeing anyone lead.
There we go. Okay.
Okay.
It looked like we are at the opposite corner. We're behind turn 4, so we're at the opposite corner of turn 2. But it looked like Stelly bumped. Is that now Hokuto no Kim? Hokuto no Kim with the star now because the star pass. There's a lot of action happening there, but at the end, when everything settles down, we have Denver at 46 making a 2-point scoring trip. Kamiquadz at 36, 10 points. Now Denver in the lead. So showing their ability to adjust and learn how to stop those multi-scoring trip passes by the Kamiquadz.
Ferguson on that outside line hops mid-air and picks up lead as the pack is rolling around turn 2, number 4, Pool, coming through, wanting to put some points on the board, but Ferguson doing what Ferguson does best, picks up points and calls it off.
So after that jam, that last jam had them 8 out of 11 as leads
for Denver. Wow.
So again, we're seeing this. It
took a couple of jams for Denver to be like, oh, that's right, we are this team, and they just needed to find it.
Here's what we need to do to isolate their jammers, keep their jammers from getting lead. Here's how we keep them scoreless, and so now they're at 50 points on the board, just like that.
14 points differentiate these two teams. Under 15 minutes remain in this first half. Sparrows rocking with that star for Denver, but it is Bad Periods who picks up lead for those Kamiquadz.
So Bad Periods heard us talking.
Yep. Again,
it's like,
we're trying to use our power for good, friends.
Yes. And was like, I need to bring my team back into this. So again, we have Kamiquadz adjusting to what Denver does.
Yes.
And now,
it was beautiful. I'm not sure if you could really see it, but on turn 3 for that last scoring pass, Bad Periods was able to basically just get right through untouched because the rest of his teammates were engaging all of the other defensive and offensive blockers for Denver.
So nice little hit out there on Bad Periods for Broderick. But we do have a star pass to Schneider. Schneider, again, as I've said before, able to wear the star and be a really a blocking presence on the track there. but unable to pick up the points because the jam was called before we get to the pack. So we are going to stop the clock for just a minute as we head into an official timeout, and that gives me an opportunity to tell you about 187 Killer Pads. Designed, tested, and trusted by top pros since 1999. Ergonomic design, made with the best materials, designed and tested by the top pros. And also, I just can't go another moment without thanking 5 on 5 Media. Today's broadcast is brought to you by 5 on 5 Media. 5 on 5 Media is dedicated to flat track derby. We offer practical advice to skaters to help with their business and with their skills, as well as keep them up to date on what is happening in the derby world. Each quarterly issue covers topics such as business, health and fitness, games and coaching, rookie help, gear, international derby, and more. Pick up your digital or print subscription today to gain access to over a decade of archived issues and recent broadcasts. So after we had that little official time out, we did add 3 additional points to the Kamiquadz score. So that is sits us at 50 for Denver, 43 for the Kamiquadz. We're at 13:37 left in the first half of our first game today of the second day of champs. That is Stelly wearing the star for Denver, picks up lead jammer. The Club Baston is wearing the star for the Kamiquadz. Has the star in hand. May do a stash. Yes, as he breaks free of the pack. Is now out on the initial pass. Stelly is going to come up quickly behind Baston. And tries to knock it out, but both jammers are quite good staying on their skates. Very quick jam. 4 points total for Denver, 1 for the Kamiquadz. So we're at 54-44. That 10-point differential is one we kind of keep returning to. So we do have a timeout on the track. That is called by the Kamiquadz. And that gives me an opportunity to again talk about some other lovely people that are helping us out.
Who else is helping us out?
Moonshine Shorts are designed, handmade, and operated by single moms out of San Luis Obispo on the central coast of California.
I was going to say, that's California,
isn't it? It is California, with fabrics made in the USA. Moonshine now also carries men's shorts in 3 different lengths, in addition to the shorts and capris for women and children. You can make your moonshine with Moonshine Shorts at makeyourmoonshine.com. That's all little letters all together, or at derbywarehouse.com.
So I'm going to admit to this because it's just you and me here. It's not like there's thousands of people listening throughout the world. The first time I saw Moonshine, my initial reaction was, oh, they're going to sell alcohol. It took me actually until about a minute and a half ago that I was like, oh, because you can moon people and have a shiny moon.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh, wow, way to go, Luce.
Hey, so we want to give a little hello to Richard Frost. Hey, good morning to you.
Hello, Richard Frost. Thank you for joining us wherever you are.
Thank you for joining us and tweeting us. Twitting on the twits. We appreciate it.
All right, Pool out there with this star, but that is Panty Depressant picking up a track cut and heading to the penalty box. So not a lot of jammer penalties so far for Denver.
2, it looks like.
2. And I mean, with this, it's a 10-point difference, so Pool could definitely utilize this 30-second power jam.
All kinds of bodies heading to the penalty box. So I think that is Panty Depressants. Panty Depressant is the only jammer that's been to the box for Denver twice.
Oh, okay.
So I believe that is correct. And gets the little...
he exits the box and just smiles.
Just Sorry, guys. It's just sometimes you just... And we have...
Okay, we love our officials.
Officials communicating with officials. That's
have we talked about our officials?
We have not, and I think we should.
Kelsey Grammer, Uberlicious, Galvatron, Kim Probable, Biss Fury, Margie Ram, Talia Up, Andy Oakley, McNinja, Ninja Sassum, Carmen Dragon, Valerito, Doesn't Matter, PK Diddy, Kylo Ref, and Leah Davidson are all rocking as our wonderful officials for this bout.
So you see Ferguson bumping out bad periods. Now, again, I have some... I have some... Denver's been able to do this strategy, but I have some ambivalence, I guess, about the strategy of bumping out the opposing jammer. But in this occasion, forces that cut track call on bad periods. So that did work out for Ferguson. Denver is able to execute that, but it is sometimes hurts you more than it helps you. Mm-hmm. But in this situation, it did a good job. So good call for Ferguson.
Again, we're at a 10-point game. Ferguson is lead. He can very easily use his superpowers and pick up 700 more points in the next 12 seconds.
Really nice sweep out there by Baby Stilly to help Ferguson through on that scoring pass.
Mm-hmm. My goodness. And there we have it again.
And Baby Stilly's like, yes, I did that. I will now immediately report to the box.
There was literally no pause. He's just like, yes, and I'm going to...
I did that. That was me. He's going to go do it. And, hey, there's strategy to that, because getting there quickly means that you get out quickly.
Exactly. Plus, if you don't dilly-dally, then you do not run the probability of being assessed a additional penalty and then have to sit for 2, because nobody wants that. Official review being called now by Denver. So, we have talked about moonshine and how they can make your butt shiny. deathandgloryskate.com, that is deathandgloryskate, one word, .com, is a new quad shop and gear website bringing more fun to Colorado and all of North America. Death and Glory have years of boot fitting experience and offer a fun recreational experience every time. If you've got questions, if you want to learn more, we say that you can go check them out at deathandgloryskate.com.
So, let's see if we can hear this over the stream.
No.
So, yeah,
Could you hear anything?
Okay, so we're listening to our...
The reason that we're pausing is the head official was trying to give a synopsis of what the official review was being requested.
So they are challenging the score.
Okay.
Is what we heard. And so that mic is just not going through on the stream, and we're not unable to hear it from where we're sitting, but that's okay. We will get you information as we get it. But, so, while we're on this review and everyone's chatting, let us tell you a little bit how we got here.
Yes, let us.
So,
personally, I flew here on a plane.
Right.
I
bet a lot of people flew here on a plane, I'm going to say. Although, one of the announcers did drive up, which bless his heart.
I think there's a couple announcers that drove up.
So, Denver
But let's
won.
talk about how the teams got here.
Yes. Denver won playing against Austin yesterday really early on in the day, and then lost to
It was
St.
the
Louis.
first game of the day as well.
It
I
was.
know because I was announcing
So
it.
that's just not fair. They had good, but they lost against St. Louis last night, and so that brought Denver here this morning.
Yes.
The
So they
Kamiquadz only lost. They only played one game, so they lost to Golden State yesterday.
So Denver had to play twice yesterday. Kamiquadz played once. Denver is currently sitting at a 1-1. Kamiquadz are, I guess, 1-0 because they won one, but they've only played
They
one.
lost to Golden State.
Lost.
Yeah,
Thank you.
They lost to Golden
So
State.
they're 0-1.
And so we're going to maybe hear from our head referee here.
I can't hear anything.
Okay. So, the points did not change on the scoreboard, and we also see that Denver lost their official review. So that is going to lead me to believe that the challenge of the score was not successful.
I'm going to agree with those statements.
Okay. So Buckle Baston is one with a star for Kamiquadz, but it is Stelly, who, before I could even finish my sentence...
That was Baby Stelly.
No, Stelly was the one with the star.
Sorry. Yes. Baby Stelly was released from the penalty box.
Right, indeed. So Stelly, before I could finish my sentence, picked up lead jammer, got through, picked up the points, and called it off. That's how fast.
Sparrow wearing the star for Denver. I was just going to say, and Sparrow wearing the star for Denver. I already said that.
Yes.
But that is number 4, Pool out there with the star for the Kamiquadz. Oh, beautiful little jump there using his teammate. And Pool picks up lead.
Fair game. If you're on my team, I can use you as a leapfrog.
Yep.
Totally fair.
I mean, who doesn't love a good game of leapfrog to break out in the middle of a game of roller derby?
Quick star pass there for Denver. Judgment Day now wearing the star.
Oh, trying to get past those hips of Hunter.
Was he able to do it? Full four.
All right.
Up on the board. So Denver's able to pick up 2 on that one, though.
So we're at a 21-point difference, 7.5 minutes, and loose change remaining. and official
time out. So everybody goes water. So it is a dry place.
This is 5,000 feet above sea level. I come from Minnesota, which is just about sea level. Last night, after I got out of my shower, I felt like I had been walking through a desert for 7 years, and I was just like, "Is this what people's lives are like on a daily basis here?"
There's not enough water. So we'll tell you. When we came into Denver, we bought a big jug of water for the hotel room.
It is 3 gallons.
It is, that's not enough. I don't think it's enough. But yeah, you have to drink a lot of water here just to.
There was a game yesterday. I can't remember which one it was, but there was no team timeouts, no official reviews, no nothing until almost halfway through the second half, and then something needed to be looked at or something, but it was just like instantaneous. All of the officials just
immediately
straight into the middle
of the track.
And it was just like, water.
Yes, because it is dry. It is dry, I'll tell you. Okay. So, we have a forearm penalty that apparently was egregious.
Egregious, yes. That was red number 3, Sharon. So Sharon has been expelled from this bout.
From the gameplay, which is so. Sharon is in the penalty box right now, and I think we're going to have to do a little rearranging here because I think Sharon was the pivot in that last jam. And so we're going to need to just settle a few things here, switch some people out.
Officials have a lot of roles and responsibilities and things that they need to do. And this is just one of them. So as they get that taken care of,
Looks like Helicopter is going to go in as that pivot and serve the penalty for Charon.
It looks like.
And I just want to give props to a nice hug there. Yeah. Give props to the official. I want to say it's MC Ninja, right? Yeah, I think it's on our roster, so it's very hard to tell, but I think it's MC Ninja. And was there, being very careful about delivering that news and doing a good job of that. And so I know it's disappointing.
Well, and
when
you
you're
could
at
even
Champs
see that MC was saying, this is where you can go sit, this is what you need to do, this is the next steps. So making sure that everybody understands fully what's going on through that process. But we are, as that wraps up, the whistle has been blown. We are in jam number 18. Stelly with the star and lead for Denver. Bad periods out there for Kamiquadz.
Star in hand, but unable to get out of the pack there on the initial. Stelly gets a little tap out there by Helicopter. Now on the track as pivot, having returned from the penalty box, serving that forearm for Charon.
Number 13, Big Daddy. Nice hit to the outside, causing Stelly to have to recycle. Stelly does a little helicopter around Helicopter.
Yes, I really... Oh, nice we got there by Brother to open up the hole that Stelly then sees and takes. And Schneider now will join Baby Stelly in the penalty box for Denver. No Kamiquadz in the box right at this moment.
4-point scoring passes thus far, 16 points in this jam. I believe this is going to be our highest point scoring jam of the half, and I'm just going to say of the day.
It's tied, yeah. So it's tied for the very, very first jam. But
excuse me, it is 17 points. So I was right.
Yeah.
I was right. It is the most highest point scoring jam.
Wow. Okay.
Take that, our wonderful and excellent producer.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't get to prove her wrong very often.
Did we mention our producer?
I never get to prove her wrong, so I might be basking in this glory for a moment.
Did you mention our producer?
I thought you did. Wasn't that your job? We don't have a producer, of course not, because
yes,
we don't sound.
Beautiful Monstars are beautiful.
Do you think we would sound this good without her? Let's be real. No.
So
we've got the
4
best
points on the board so far for Ferguson. Okla Baston with the star for the Kamiquadz.
Quick little jam there, 4 points.
Very fast. We weren't even allowed to say Beautiful Monster. So, as you'll notice,
the
Baston is in the penalty box. Did I say that incorrectly? Sorry, that was so fast for me. Strangely, the Kamiquadz have fielded a jammer. I think that's probably going to...
But look at that.
There we go.
Baby Stelly's being really helpful and is like, hey, buddy, your jammers.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Yes. Your jammer's in the box. It is a power start, and Denver has chosen to field Stelly, who has been very effective against the Kamiquadz.
Stelly's combination of speed and agility has been very, very helpful for the Denver ground control today.
Oh, look at that. Baston, who was really, really effective at in the first few jams against Denver. They have found a way to sort of isolate him, but now out of the pack on the initial.
And just as they're coming up on the first and second point scoring pass, it is called. So Denver held 4 with Kamiquadz 0. As we roll into that 3-minute mark here.
So now Popo takes the
jammer
line.
Popo.
Now we know
going up against
that,
antidepressant.
that our jammer has cleared the box so we can.
Yes.
Now field a jammer.
You know, one of the great things about roller derby is realistically everybody likes one another. Everyone tries to be helpful.
I will push you down, and yes, I
And
like you.
But I will then help you stand up.
Yes. So Popo does pick up lead jammer for the Kamiquadz, but here is Panty Depressant, and Panty Depressant, also a very fast skater, and also very elastic, and can move very quickly. Almost caught him. You can see the fists. I almost caught him.
He was so excited. He was like, yeah, I made him call it off.
I made him, yes. Forced that call off. Kept them at 0, so we're at 98.50 in favor of Denver. 2 minutes, 20 seconds left on the clock. This is the first half only.
This is, I mean, man,
it's been a lot of stuff happening.
This is the first half of the first game on
I know, right?
day 2.
So good, so good. So Stelly has done a great job against this Kamiquadz. Has picked up lead all but one time, I believe, and so right now having a little bit of trouble with that's Helicopter, I think, with that shoulder over and over. But now that is Schneider picking up a penalty, and again, just accelerating to the penalty box. Now, Stelly's out, but not lead. So what? I think there was a little bit of confusion about who was what there for a second because Bad Periods just sort of stood there. I don't know if Bad Periods was just confirming, like, am I lead? Can I? And now we're going to have a little discussion here with a few officials, but now, okay, got it. So it is 0-0 jam. So Stelly not lead that time, but I was out first. But if we're doing stats, that would not be lead, right? Correct. And look, that was so. There's another thing about Ferguson doing the
Ferguson
pullback.
Enjoys that.
He really does.
That pre-jammer line engagement.
This is his favorite little move. It did work for him last time, so I can't. So I told you I have a lot of ambivalence about this strategy, but Denver does a good job of hanging on. And there you go.
And there's Broderick.
That's Cotton. Sorry, that's Cotton. It worked out that time, but there is Baston jumping on the inside. So. Didn't quite work out as well as last time, but
Cotton was right there and ready for it.
So
it was
I told
beautiful.
You, Denver does that play well, and so that's why I'm ambivalent. There are teams that don't do it as well, but Baston is out of the pack.
As Baston,
nobody is lead. So yeah, there we go. Now we have lead, and I think so. As soon as Ferguson's out. Does call it. Yep. And now we're having some discussion about...
So Baston did get out first, but was not lead. So as soon as Ferguson picked up lead, called it right off, and Baston had re-entered the back of the pack, and there was... I was curious as to if there would be any points scored, because, I mean, again, from my perspective, it sort of seemed like there was a couple of hips that were passed. But we are, oh my gosh, we're already at halftime.
So now we're at halftime. So the officials are now everybody's checking and settling everything before we head into intermission. Wow.
Whew,
first game of the day.
I'm excited to see what the second half brings.
So it is 98-50 in favor of Denver. But we will be back. You go refresh your beverage.
Yes.
Stretch your legs.
Drink your water.
Look at Boots,
who's
standing behind us in her lovely dress. And come back
Pepper.
and join us. And there's Pepper. Hey, Pepper.
We'll be back in about 10 minutes.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to game number 7.
Game number 7, game number 1, day 2, 2019. What other numbers can we talk about?
So what we can tell you is this is between Denver, of course, wearing the dark blue jerseys with the silver accents, and the Kamiquadz are wearing red jerseys with the white accents with the blue on the outside trim. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. What I can also tell you is that after this amazing game that we watched, game number 8 will be against Austin Anarchy and the Golden State Heat.
Oh, that's going to be a good one.
That'll be a good one as well. So we were just looking at a few numbers.
So let's talk numbers.
Let's do it.
So penalties. I went and had a little mind meld with some of the fine penalty trackers. So overall, there's not a lot of craziness happening.
True.
There is one skater, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 penalties for Denver Ground Control. That is number 4, Baby Stelly. And then... Yes, so other than that, Broderick and Rivera have 4. Past that, everybody's either at 2 or 1. From the Kamiquadz side of things, Big Daddy has 4 penalties. Everybody else, again, either has 2, 1, or none. So a couple of folks kind of getting close, but not anything too bad.
But you know, the jammer
there's
penalties...
still 30 more minutes.
Yes. The jammer penalties have been very, very low.
Yes.
And so that is a good news for both teams. Now, with Baby Stelly, with so many penalties, that has got to be a concern for Denver because Baby Stelly has been such a presence out there on the track.
Yes.
But speaking of Stellys, this is Stelly with the star for Denver already out, picked up lead jammer, back through for a scoring pass, doing a maneuver there. Backwards through the pack. The star for the Kamiquadz is Buckle Baston, and Baston actually has the star in hand. So that's number 77 there on the track on your if you can see through your vision of the track, your version, your perspective.
If you can see through the people and the animals that are sitting in front of your computer, I don't know, that would be weird.
I don't know, animals, like to
That's
get
true,
in
like
front
a
of your
cat.
screen when you're watching stuff. So that's a second scoring trip for Stelly. That's 8 points on the board to start off the half for Denver.
Oh, Stelly coming around that outside little sweepy move on his own for another 4.
Star pass to Oliver Fist. I think that's the first time that Fist has taken the star in this game.
I think you are correct.
Experiencing a lot of resistance there from the Denver defense. Gets bumped into the infield, recycled back. Now bumped to the outfield by Cotton.
Cotton is just always where he needs to be. It's beautiful. Judgment Day doing a great job of blocking Maniac Tattoo.
Maniac Tattoo comes in, tries to break up the arms. It just shoulders thrown, blockers throwing people out. And so that was Oliver Fist that managed to get out of the pack, but unable to put any points on the board. So 4 scoring trips there for Stelly. 16 points on the board for Denver. Oh, it does look like, I'm sorry, I misspoke. I'm sorry, 1 on the 17. Okay, just stop for a second. We're going to stop, and we're going to start over. For Denver, that was a 17-point pass, and no points on the board for Oliver Fist.
That matches the highest point scoring in the first half.
So Panty Depressant now, wearing the star for Denver, and that's Pool, number 4, wearing the star for the Kamiquadz.
Remember, friends, if you want to chat with us, if you want to shout out, FYI, what up, Banshee? I see you and your New York watch party out there. Don't worry, I'm drinking my water.
And that is another penalty on Broderick.
Ooh.
And so that is going to...
That's going to take him to 5.
5, yeah. So that is another presence out there on the track for Denver that they need to hold on to.
Delacruz heading to that penalty box for the Kamiquadz. Meanwhile, Pool with that lead. Nobody putting any points on the board quite yet. And Pool seeing Panty Depressant coming up on the backside of that pack and says, I'm not going to let you score anything. Gonna call it off. So, as I was saying, if you want to chat with us, hashtag MRDA champs, or you can yell at me on Twitter at Find Loose Change.
There's no need to yell.
I like to yell. I use cap locks a lot. Most of my yelling is done in a positive and affirming way.
Okay, that I'll accept. Which is how we've been saying Broderick's name.
Broderick is standing in the penalty box, so he has less than 10 seconds.
Ferguson again with the knockout. Oh! It looks like Bad Periods was wary of that particular maneuver. Knocks out Ferguson himself.
Bad Periods was like, I see you and raise you, sir.
And we're looking, it looks like, yes,
Ooh.
So Bad Periods picks up the lead, and Ferguson picks up a low block.
Oh, so we've got a lead of Bad Periods. We've got a power jam for Bad Periods. Let's see how many points we can put on the board for the Kamiquadz.
So Bad Periods slowly and decides to... So we will take a moment here.
Yep. So calling it off, Bad Periods. So we will reset. This does freeze Ferguson in the box, but there was 2 points picked up for the Kamiquadz, able to hold Denver scoreless.
So they are...
Producer extraordinaire, when was the last time that the Kamiquadz were able to hold Denver scoreless? We will get that information back to you. Oh, the last few jams?
The last 3 are there.
All right.
So that was a nice little move there by Baston. Little shoulders back and forth to get out.
Not only that, but then there was a nice little hop at the very end. So number 43 wasn't able to come in and sweep him either.
So here's Ferguson again doing the bump out, even though this is interesting. Ferguson really enjoys playing the defense and now picks up a forearm. We'll head back to the box. So Baston with a star and a power jam. Denver down 1 blocker.
And a jammer.
And now here we go. So Baston able to get through on that scoring pass. That's 4 so far.
Mm-hmm. Blockers, so Kamiquadz at the back of the pack, Denver at the front. Ferguson is standing, so 1 more jam that will be a power start for the Kamiquadz.
And so 3 scoreless now for Denver, and we are... Okay, I was very concerned about that. I think that... is that Chris with a K? Anyway, we'll get back to you. We'll get back to you on that. What was happening there? Okay.
All right, so jam is on. Ferguson released from the penalty box. Pool out there with the star. Ferguson
so fast
makes his way through, picks up a lead, and so we have 1 more Kamiquadz skater reporting to that penalty box. Ferguson.
And a back block for Ferguson.
Oh goodness!
And we do.
That is 3 penalties in a row for Ferguson.
So we're going to take a brief moment here to have some medical professionals check on a skater.
No, I think this is just a team timeout.
Nope. It was an official.
Oh, an official timeout.
Mm-hmm. Because they asked the skater if he could stand. Wasn't very confident in saying, yes, I can stand. It looks like Big Daddy, but I can't. There are a lot of people between us and the people out there, so I think that's who that is, but we will get you information on that as we can.
You know, there's a skater being taken care of, and that is what our medical
important.
Staff here is for.
Yes.
So we've got Ferguson starting this jam yet again in the penalty box. Baston out there with a star for Kamiquadz.
We have an official review being called by the Kamiquadz. And so, okay.
We will, if we hear anything, we will let you know. If not, what we will tell you about instead is our wonderful 5-on-5 media. Hashtag 5-on-5 is amazing. Hashtag Leslie Nope rocks my world. So 5-on-5 media, today's broadcast is brought to us by the 5-on-5 media. They are dedicated to women's flat track derby, and they offer practical advice to skaters to help with their business and their skills, as well as keep them up to date on what is happening in the derby world. Quarterly issues cover topics like business, health and fitness, derby and coaching, rookie help, gear, international derby, and more.
All right, so are you, in fact, dreaming of new roller skates? Skate Rats is your skate shop. With over 10 years of expert experience and knowledge of building roller skates and fitting safety gear, Skate Rats will set you up with the gear that is right for you. So they do have a retail store in Loveland, but they also, you can go to Skate Rats. So let me tell you how to spell that because it's a little bit different. So SK, the number 8, RATZ.com for fast, free shipping. I'm just saying, like, free shipping is the thing that really gets me moving. So the Big Daddy is the skater that was getting taken care of with the medics, and we will, it just looks like maybe he needs to sit down for a few minutes, and that's cool. We'll just, he's in good hands, let's say that. So, we'll sit down for a few minutes. Let me just wrap up what we know so far. And, So let me just recap here. Ferguson in the box. Also, Helicopter in the box as the pivot, for Kamiquadz. Ferguson in the box as the jammer for Denver. So we will allow everyone to communicate first before we tell you what's happening on the track. A lot of stuff happening. So I know you can't see back behind the camera, but there's a lot of things happening. Okay, so basically the Kamiquadz were asking for an expulsion for that back block. They were looking for an expulsion as an egregious back block. You can see, or I'm not sure if you can see from your camera angle, but Ferguson is still in the box. And so the outcome of that is that Ferguson will not receive the egregious block, just the regular penalty. But so that still gives a power start. Kamiquadz have chosen to field Buck LeBaston for the jammer for this power start. And Denver really set up there well with the defense. Kamiquadz hanging back to try to stretch the pack out as much as possible. Now having to run forward to try to loosen things up a little bit. Baston unable to get through so far, and Ferguson now standing in the box. Baston was very effective against the defense at the beginning of this game, but Denver has figured out how to lock him down. But now, on that whistle, everybody looked up, and Baston just needed that 1 second, that nanosecond of everyone looking to take the inside lane, picks up lead jammer, and now is through again on a scoring trip.
Greenberger being assessed that multiplayer blocker according to the penalty box for the Kamiquadz. She's the only blocker right now for the Kamiquadz in the box. The other blocker in there is Cotton for Denver Ground Control.
So now, after a lot of confusion, I think everybody is kind of reset a bit. We have Stelly on the line, taking on Popo.
Stelly looking to hopefully break that 5-jam scoreless streak that Denver has had. First step, picking up lead.
So Manic Tattoo picks up that penalty, and again, you just need that nanosecond of that whistle blown, and everybody looking up at the skating official to any of these jammers. You just need that 1 nanosecond, and they're able to just that moment of hesitation, and they just take advantage of it, which is the mark of a good jammer. So there's 4-0 jam in favor of Denver. And we're ticking down with 20 minutes, 13 seconds left in the second half. You're watching Denver taking on the Kamiquadz. Denver, of course, in the dark blue, Kamiquadz in the red, and that is Stelly wearing the star for Denver. Picks up lead jammer very quickly. Bad periods. Got the star on for the Kamiquadz. And Stelly around the pack again for 4. Penalty box clears out as Manic Tattoo approaches the pack. Oh, nice little spin move there around Green Bergen. Stelly out for 4. Nice drawback there. But Stelly is just very fast. Just a very fast hammer. Only picks up 3 because of the one player out of bounds there, and so that's a 3-point scoring pass. 11 on the board so far for Stelly. Comes in, knocks up against Bad Tattoo. I'm sorry, Manic Tattoo. I said Bad Tattoo. I don't know why, but it's Manic. It's Manic, not Bad. Stelly through for an additional 4 on that pass. I said Manic, didn't I? It's Maniac. I apologize to you, Maniac Tattoo. I've been maybe pronouncing your name wrong the whole time. It's been a busy game so far. So Stelly is going to take a look both at the bench and the penalty box. Decides to call that off. Does keep the Kamiquadz scoreless. Has so far put 18. So I believe that might be the highest scoring jam here. I will take a look at my wonderful producer here. And yes, she says, indeed, the highest scoring jam so far this game. Denver really stretching out this lead now, 137-64 from the Kamiquadz. 18 minutes left to go in the second half of game number 7. That is Sparrow wearing the star for Denver, picking up lead jammer. Buckla Basson has the star for the Kamiquadz in hand, has come out of the pack on the initial pass, now eligible to put points on the board, but Sparrow making a run up the outside will pick up the 4 and call it. So we're seeing Denver settle in a little bit with their sort of strategy. And you see there, telling everyone, take a breath, let's calm it down.
A little
everybody,
settle. It's
settle
good.
it, settle it. Everybody's good. Everything's fine. Penalty box empty as we start this jam. Ferguson with the star for Denver, and Poolpool with the star for the Kamiquadz. Ferguson, so fast, picking up that lead very quickly. And Ferguson has to play pretty cleanly because, again, a very effective jammer against the Kamiquadz.
In a row?
Immediate, like boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
And just needing to calm that down a little bit, but yeah, maybe in the regular rotation had a moment to rethink that. Mm-hmm. We have one blocker apiece in the penalty box. Star pass has successfully happened for the Kamiquadz. We have Hokuto no Kim with the star now making a round out of the pack on the original pass, and so Ferguson is going to hang out and call it. So Maniac Tattoo
He's a maniac.
Has exited the box, but we still have one Denver blocker in the box. And I cannot see who it is because I'm in a weird position. And also,
I think that is number 43.
Okay, so 43 on our roster, says Chris with a K. I know that there is some difference between some of the paperwork. And so, for that player, if we have the wrong information, we do apologize, but that is... Homier is his last name. So we have two different sets of information. So we do apologize if we're calling you by a name that you would rather be called by your last name rather than this. But our roster says Chris with a K, and so that is what we're going to use. As I've said before, we get a lot of information before big tournaments like this, like several spreadsheets worth of information. And some of them contradict one another, and that is just the nature of working with humans, right? Sometimes information is just not seamless. And so Denver has kept the Kamiquadz scoreless for 4 jams. Nice little handshake there between Bad Periods and Panty Crescent on the line. You can hear probably a member on our announce team, Bobby Narco. He speaks really, fairly good French. So I enjoy listening to him pronounce the names of these folks. So he does a better job. He's coaching us on our French this weekend. So Bad Periods with the star for the Kamiquadz picks up lead jammer. Penny Depressant now also out of the pack on the initial.
The Denver pack hanging out at the front, looking to put a little stop to Bad Periods. And
Bad Periods calling it from the floor.
Yeah. Calling it off. 0-0 apiece in that jam. Thank you, Rippy, for taking care of everything while I have been away coughing my head off.
Hey, we're here for one another.
I appreciate that.
We are here. So we have Buckla Baston back on this line for the Kamiquadz, and that Stelly is now maybe on a every other or every third rotation because so successful against this team. Does pick up lead again for Denver. Star pass very quick for the Kamiquadz. Now, Hokuto no Kim with the star.
Hokuto no Kim has been taking the star pass very frequently when needing to. So obviously, not only effective as a pivot, but a go-to for that secondary jammer in the rotation.
And I think that's something that the Kamiquadz have been pretty successful with, just immediately passing that star if you don't get the lead.
Yep.
They're starting to use that a little bit more frequently here in the second half, and I think it's a good strategy for them.
4 points picked up in that last jam for Denver. Them sitting at 157 to Kamiquadz 64. 13 and a half minutes remain. Sparrow out there with the star. Stuck at the back of the pack behind that wall of skaters in red.
Broderick back there trying to help out.
Broderick!
Oh, everybody hitting Sparrow. That was Eddie Copter. Trying to hit Sparrow, but didn't quite land it.
Pool with the star.
Ooh. Big pile up there. We got a whistle blown. Let's see if somebody... Yeah. Rivera's going to take a seat in the penalty box for that one. Cruz playing a little one-on-one there.
Pool at the front of the pack, coming up against Broderick and Schneider. Ooh.
Oh, my goodness. That was a big hit there by Schneider. Ooh. Cuckoo not happy about that particular hit. our officials are discussing some things at the center track.
Official time out being called now.
The shouting that you hear is "Every day is Judgment Day."
Oh, is that what it was?
That is what it was.
Oh.
So Judgment Day is who brought the cheering section today.
I mean, everybody needs a good cheering section.
Agreed. Where's the announcer cheering section?
I think that's on Twitter. See, they keep me around not only because I'm cute, but because I'm witty.
You're hilarious.
That's a couple things I got going for me, so it'll work.
So let me remind you, I did mention this before, but there was a lot of stuff happening, so let me mention it again. After this game, we have Austin
More
Anarchy.
roller derby?
It is a lot of roller derby. A lot of roller derby. So game number 8 will be Austin Anarchy taking on Golden State Heat. And I think that should be a pretty good game to watch. I think that would be fun.
This is where it's going to be really interesting because game number 9, the winner of game number 8 goes on to play.
I think that's tough.
So that is going to be a back-to-back.
It's a very tough schedule, right?
But then for I think it's game number 10, and then whoever wins game number 10 goes on to play in game number 11.
It is a tough day. It's a tough day. So we'll let Loose Change grab a hold of what was going to discuss with our official about what is happening here, and we will let Loose Change inform you as soon as everybody is sort of settled here.
Yep. So once things have been. So, thank you, first off and foremost, to our wonderful official liaison, Leah Davidson, who's bringing us all the information.
Very important.
Very important. All of the captains and everyone have been notified now, so I will share with you the fact that from the Denver Ground Control, blue number 89, Rivera, is going to be expelled for an egregious back block. As you see over there right now, MC discussing things with Rivera and telling...
And again, we see the complete professionalism of MC Ninja, who is explaining very carefully, understands the emotion that is here. This is a championship game, and even though they have a fairly sizable lead, it's still an emotional thing to be said. You can't play in the last 12 and a half minutes or so.
Right.
And, you know, so now we have one player apiece missing from the roster.
Ferguson not letting that news slow down Denver, though. Jukes to the outside, fakes that, and on the inside, hop skips into the lead.
Okay, so what... So I'm not really sure about... it looked like there was attempted star pass, didn't quite work out. Gotta go try this again, and...
From the Kamiquadz?
Yeah, from the Kamiquadz. I'm sorry, I wasn't clear about who was doing what, but it was a lot of...
Judgment Day doing his best to help Ferguson. Is there a few of those Kamiquadz doing their best?
Okay, there we go. Now, we have... so, Bad Periods was the one with the star. I think I think the star pass didn't happen like they wanted, and so we had to reset a lot of things. But Bad Periods was able to get the star
back on the helmet and was
got
jammer.
It, and then was actually the jammer of record for the entirety of that jam, really.
Yep. And then right at the very end of that jam, Ferguson was basically just waiting for Bad Periods to roll up and do a little bit of jammer engagement. And then as soon as Bad Periods was in a position to almost score points, Ferguson called it off.
Right. And I think that's wise because Denver's just trying to kill clock here, right?
At this point in time, they have a 105-point lead, 10 and a half minutes. Clock management is realistically what it comes down to.
Right.
You could score 0 points, but as long as the Kamiquadz don't score 0 points as well, then that's fine.
Now, Book Feston back on the line for the Kamiquadz and is out of the pack. Now, that's going to force you. This is exactly what the Kamiquadz want to do, right? They want to force the very fast movement and, in that fast movement, maybe pick up a few points as well. But, if they don't pick up lead, they want to force that call off really quickly. And so, really smart movement out there. But the Kamiquadz have been scoreless now for 9 jams. And so they are going to look to change that.
Yep. Pool out there. If anybody can put some points up on the board, it's going to be Pool for the Kamiquadz. But Pool is going up against Panty-Depressant, who very smart, very fast, very agile.
Stretchy.
Stretch Armstrong
is what I would...
Stretch
Armstrong. Right, you're right. Sorry.
Stretch Armstrong. Toy from the 80s. It was basically a big giant plastic thing.
Great stretch. Panty-Depressant is
lead.
Is absolutely lead. And it's very nimble. Panty-Depressant nimble. And a low block will be assessed to someone. Okay, but it's not Panty-Depressant.
No,
so we have too many people in the box now. Okay, now we have 3. Yeah, there we go. So
little bit of confusion there.
But there was not abnormal confusion, right? Like that was so 3 blockers in the box for the Kamiquadz. Pool has the start in hand, but with no help on the floor, it looks like it's Helicopter, I think. As the single wall out there, Panty-Depressant, one-footed, comes around the inside. Helicopter cannot do a lot to help Pool against the defense. Just can't do much.
Meanwhile, Panty-Depressant, 16 points so far, but picks up a forearm penalty.
Oh, my goodness. That is, if I'm not mistaken, that's the 3rd for Panty-Depressant. 2 really quick in the first half, or 2 in the first half, and then 1 here in the second. And we've got Ferguson also sitting on the 3, and so we mentioned at the beginning of the half that jammer penalties weren't a huge deal, but they're starting to become that way.
So, real quick, it looks as though Big Daddy, number 13 from the Kamiquadz, is fouled out. He's standing behind the penalty box. Normally, that means that
officials have asked that player to remove themselves from the box. Now, that means the Kamiquadz are going to have to field someone to serve that penalty.
So, so you serve the penalty, you finish it as well.
And then they ask you to stand.
And then it depends, because if the jam... It depends what comes first, if the jam ends or if your penalty comes to its natural conclusion. If the penalty comes to its natural conclusion, then they just ask you to stand kind of behind because you can't return, because you fouled out, and then they deal with stuff in between.
Right.
If the jam ends, then they remove you and someone has to come in and sit for you.
If your penalty has not expired. Correct. Yes. And I felt like they were going to have someone serve, but no, they are explaining to Big Daddy
where he needs
where
to go.
Exit, where to rejoin the team, that sort of thing. So again, we've got lots of great communicators here for this tournament. Lots of people that understand the high emotions and so. The Kamiquadz do actually come in with a fairly short roster. Not ridiculously short, but it's fairly short. And so we've lost 2 players now.
When you come in with a 12-person roster and you lose 2 people, that means you've got 2 lines.
Yep.
So you're out there every other.
There were a couple of injuries, but it looks like they weren't serious injuries. Everybody has... been taken care of by the medical professionals and have been cleared to come back. They set out the 3,
Bad
jams.
Periods back out there with the star picks up lead at the top of the pack here. Last couple of blockers to beat and working, but it is Hunter and Schneider at the front of that pack, and there we go, clears it for 4. So Bad Periods able to put some points on the board, which is definitely what we want to see for the Kamiquadz.
Now Greenbergen.
Yep, so Greenbergen back in the penalty box.
Yeah.
She's been in there a fair amount. I can't tell you the precise number.
I want to say I've seen 4 in the last 5 minutes. So that's not good news.
I mean, she is standing, which means she'll return to the track.
Yes, that's good news. So
Bad Periods out there looking. 2 point scoring passes so far, but when you're coming up against a tripod that includes Cruz, and it includes Hunter, and it includes Spicy, you're not going to move very far very fast.
Now, what was great was Greenbergen was able to come out of the penalty box just so quickly and head right to that tripod.
Yep.
And knocked open a little bit. Wasn't able to clear the jammer, but that's, just a great move there. Just exploding out of the penalty box.
And opened up enough of a line that there was 2 more points able to be put on the board, so it was 10 points.
So Stelly back on the line for Denver. Buckla Baston back on the line for the Kamiquadz. Baston doing a little spin move on the outside. Stelly is the one with lead. Baston now doing a little bit of the maneuvering that we saw very early in this game. Able to get out of the pack. Stelly's going to wait on it and look to the bench for the call-off.
Waiting right until that Kamiquadz jammer is just about to enter the back of the pack and calls it off, holding the Kamiquadz scoreless. It's been Denver's MO from basically the beginning of we're going to put points on the board and call it off. So,
now, not that this is going to make a huge difference to Denver right now, as we are under 4.5 minutes. But there have been no jammer penalties for the Kamiquadz here in the second half at all.
Nice.
So very cleanly played for them. We've seen a couple of jammers for Denver just return to the box a couple of times. Now that Schneider headed to the box for Denver already.
Oh my goodness. Beautiful over there on the apex. Bad Periods picks up lead, hit at the same time, takes a little tumble, basically does like a somersault, and then pops right back up and keeps skating. And there we've got 4 points. I think, 1, 2, 3, 4 points for Bad Periods, and calls it off. So we've got 1 blocker for the Kamiquadz in the box, 2 for Denver in the box. So we've got Pool out there with the star getting ready, and I'm going to guess we will be seeing Stelly with the star for Denver. Oh, no,
it's Ferguson. Yeah, we got the 3 rotation going right now for Denver.
I had a 50-50 shot was my theory. It was either going to be Ferguson or Stelly. I was wrong.
And they both like to kind of skate a little bit before they
do.
Get in.
With that jam, we're underway.
And Ferguson loves to play defense right off the jammer line. And, I can't blame him. It worked in that instance.
It's very effective. It's one of the tools that, Ferguson has in his toolbox. And why not utilize it every so often, especially if it's going to make... If you can.
So Ferguson just threw the pack, calls it off, is able to pick up 3 on that one. Wasn't able to pass everybody, but that's okay. It was the more important thing was to keep the Kamiquadz scoreless, which was successful. So we're ticking down to about 2.5 minutes left in the second half.
We got Buckla Baston, number 77, with the star for the Kamiquadz, and Stelly, number 72, for Denver Ground Control. The jam is on.
Baston saw the hole and tried to take it, but Cotton
was right there waiting.
Yep.
So Stelly through, picks up lead. Oh, there we go.
There we go. It works.
That was the inside line that Baston was looking for. So both jammers point scoring eligible, and just as Baston's coming up, Stelly calls it off.
Yeah.
It looks like 0 points for Baston, and
I don't
see the other official
for the.
Oh, three.
There we go.
3 points.
Finally, there we go.
3 points for Denver. So that with just over 1.5 minutes, Denver sitting at the 199 mark, just shy of 200. Kamiquadz at 78.
Just shy of 80.
Yeah. Panty Depressant out there, Pool out there.
Pool's going to run a little defense, but Panty Depressant, as we mentioned earlier, so agile, so able to move.
Pool
side to side.
Pool coming up against that tripod of Schneider, and I think
that looks like
Hunter
Project.
And Project. Nope, sorry, that was Cruz. My mistake. It was Cruz that I had saw out there earlier. Little. Ooh.
Oh, and it looks like a forearm, I think.
Yep, that is a forearm being assessed to Pool. So this will be a power jam for our lead jammer, Panty Depressant.
So my feeling is 45 seconds left on the clock. Pool just sat down. I think that probably Panty Depressant is going to run this out as much as possible.
Were I a Denver ground control coach, I would say you could just stand there. Yes, I'll admit it. I'm one of those people.
You could, but that's not Panty Depressant's way. Panty Depressant's going to go ahead and engage the pack. Panty Depressant believes that he can get past Greenbergen, and does.
And is able to.
With a little help. Help there.
So that is...
Was that... I'm sorry. There's so many bodies moving in front of me. I don't want to say the wrong name, but really great help by the defense there to running offense and defense.
And there we go. Panty Depressant calls it unofficial score, but we do have... So before we do anything, before we go anywhere, there's still things that could happen. So unofficially, Denver sits at 209. Kamiquadz sits at 78.
So we are just going to make sure everybody likes to check. And for those of you out in the virtual world, the MRDA protocol for exiting the track means that all of our officials have to leave the track securely before everybody can come up and do all the handshaking and all that beautiful stuff that we like to do, and high fives and hugs and whatever. And so now our officials are off the track, and so we now have our official final score, 209-78.
There we have it.
In favor of Denver.
So here we are. Denver, having played 3 games thus far, sitting
really
at a 2-1.
That's a lot of games to play.
In a very short period of time.
In 2 days. They played...
I mean,
in the early morning, they played in the evening, they played first thing this morning.
In like 26 hours.
It's really, that was a lot of, and you know, there were, as we mentioned, there were some penalties that they might be concerned about, but overall they really settled into their game and held Kamiquadz, because they came in ranked just one difference between them.
9 versus 10.
And so they really were able to hold the Kamiquadz scoreless there, and that's the story of this game.
It is. So as they shake hands and hug amongst the teams, look at...
I'm sorry, we're getting distracted by all the lovingness out.
Exactly. It's nice because we have a direct view of all of the like high fives, handshakes, and hugs that happen, and everyone's just smiling and happy and just pleased to be here.
Yes.
Which, as they should be, because these are the top-ranked teams in the MRDA.
Yes.
And goodness gracious, if nothing else, this is great.
Yes. So we want you to make sure to stay tuned for Austin Anarchy taking on Golden State Heat. It'll be our next game up. That'll need to warm up and things before we get started. But I am Rippy Longstocking.
I am loose change when I haven't been coughing my head off.
That's okay. We have been assisted today by Bruder from Lone Star and Leslie Nope, who has been helping us out.
We have the best support people here.
We really do.
It's like
Thank you.
It's pretty. We're straight up spoiled. Let's be realistic. We have amazing people from 5on5 Media helping us, and then we have our wonderful producer helping us. Could we get any better? I don't think so. I mean, this is the peak. This is the pinnacle.
We are.
Don't
in the
worry,
Mile High
friends.
City.
I mean,
we're in the Mile High City. We have the peak of the
we've hit
support.
the peak.
And so we're going to sign off now. We hope that you stay tuned for our next game.
Thank you.